This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek a medical professional or healthcare provider if you're seeking any medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Thanks, everyone.
Welcome.
If you are a patron, then you know the story. And something very, very funny, which I will make only a teaser for, happened with this sign right here for our latest Patreon episode. So
I shot my pants, basically.
her soul left her body.
It was scary.
And we recorded it. And
We got it on video.
If
I haven't even looked at the video yet.
If that doesn't, just that alone,
Let me just secure it again.
just become a patron just for that, because it's worth it. It was amazing. And then you would know the story behind these ones. Evie found herself a boyfriend.
I do. Look at his muscles. What is that?
What is that? Dude, weird stuff is happening. I had never seen that. It's still recording. Everything's fine.
Is the spirits? Are they trying to tell us thumbs up?
Okay, so
Spirit, if you're in here, give us a thumbs up. Okay.
So those of you that are just hearing audio or seeing this later, like whatever the case may be, but if you're only seeing this in audio, I don't know if I doubt that came into the recording, but my computer did something it's never done before, and it was like a bubble, like a little bubble, right?
A bubble with a thumbs up.
With a thumbs up came up on our video. And this is on my software for recording. This isn't like social media or anything.
Let me Google this. What is this called?
Mac. It's a MacBook Pro.
MacBook
Pro. And then did we do something?
Bubble?
Like
I
doing
know,
like
that's what
this?
I'm
Is it?
thumbs up?
Yeah. Like bubble and a.
Thumb.
Oh, there's something there.
No. Bubble, thumbs
Yeah.
up.
So weird stuff has been happening. Since we did our Patreon episode, we saw souls coming out of bodies, particularly Evie's body. We got these ones here. His name is Darkness. This one's name is Travis.
There is nothing on Google about what just happened.
Yeah. Thanks, Spirit. So we're going to continue.
What is going on? Why does it have to be in my house? Why?
It would probably be worse in my house. So let's just be grateful it's here and not in my house. My house could get saucy. I've never seen that before. If any of you out there that is listening, watching, whatever the case may be, and you have a MacBook laptop, any Air Pro like mine, whatever it is, and literally it's like a bubble with other little bubbles. It's like in the water. A bubble came out and then with a thumbs up, and it comes up in the screen out of nowhere, maybe because we did something like, I don't know.
I'm trying to
reenact what did we do to entice it to come up, and nothing, it's not happening again. And I didn't press anything.
Muscles.
Yeah, and then we went like this.
Yeah.
And we did this. You did a thumbs up. We're actively, for those of you listening, we're actively doing the thumbs up. Maybe it's like
a thing that, no, that's weird.
No, that's weird.
Okay, well.
Okay.
Now I'm officially freaked out. Okay.
It's not a bad thing. It's not like they gave us like the thumbs down. Whatever it is, they gave us a thumbs
Swear
up.
to God, if I see a thumbs down, I'm gonna die.
Or like a little double horn or something. No,
I will sell this house. I just finished it, and I will sell this house.
Don't sell it. We're looking for somewhere to rent.
What?
Yeah, we got a rat somewhere during the construction.
Oh my God.
It's serious, yes. starting like January or February, we're gonna have to run somewhere, and it's gonna have to be somewhere that accepts 4 dogs.
Oh my god. I mean, I might be moved in by that point, but
No, I know. No, I'm saying that joking. Please don't sell it. Don't sell it. Just
here.
rent it to me instead of selling it. You know, if that's what it's coming down to, I will deal with
God.
the thumbs up
there's a
ghost.
ton of houses around here that are rented. Oh my
Yeah.
god, can you imagine if we're neighbors? Okay.
Anyway, okay. Wow, we already started in a high tangent
Yeah, high
today.
tangent.
Anyway, so today we're talking about autopsies, and this is our first installment for the weekly. We're 2 episodes deep in Patreon for our creepy series.
Yeah, and that's a 2-part series. It was good. It was good. We said stories. We talked about weird shit.
10 out of 10 recommend that episodes because it was so long and so many things happened around us that we had to, it was originally going to be just 1 episode, and then we're like, no, we have to split this because there's just too much, and I don't want to be cutting it for another reason. Like, it's so much good stuff in there, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but this is the first one for the weekly out there in our creepy series, and we're going to be talking about autopsies, which you've done.
I have.
Yeah. Okay. And I've only seen like body parts. Like, I haven't done I've seen cadavers. Yeah. I've definitely seen them, but I haven't like actively, removed organs from them or anything. Like, I've seen them, like touched them, whatever, tinkered, but haven't
I think the
actively,
biggest, like the craziest thing, and we'll talk about these like autopsies, but the craziest thing was the difference. As a medical student, you work on cadavers, and then it's basically like you're doing an autopsy, but on a cadaver. And then I've participated, I've not done myself, I've participated in like fresh autopsies. So like post-mortem autopsies. And that difference in the organs and textures and everything, oh man, that was creepy AF.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So we'll get into that.
So what are autopsies?
Basically, autopsy is a procedure that we do for many different reasons. Sometimes we do it to find out what the medical cause of a death was, but basically you are performing a procedure to see what the cause of death was.
Yeah.
And sometimes that could be for a crime, that was committed. Sometimes that could be for a death that was not, what is the word that I'm looking for?
Like clear cut, like it wasn't like you need
Like
to.
it wasn't expected, an unexpected death. And obviously you do autopsies to learn too. I mean, that's how I learned about anatomy and everything. So that is an autopsy, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Awesome.
Ooh. So the first time that I went to a few medical school interviews, but the medical school that I actually went to, they were the only ones that took me to their anatomy lab.
Okay.
And here I am, heels, super uncomfortable, because I feel like medicine is like stuck in this world where like people need to dress up like literally suit and tie. And don't get me wrong, like I feel like you need to be professional. I'm not saying that you're professional. But I mean, people were literally in like typical like black suit, blue suits, very boring, right? And high heels, very professional, very boring, Yeah. And they take me to the anatomy lab. Tell me why I almost passed out.
Really?
I almost passed out. It was like the impression of seeing all
you weren't
dead
expecting
bodies. I wasn't expecting it at all. And it was cool to see like where I would be doing anatomy and what I would be working on. A lot of med schools actually don't have cadavers.
Yeah.
A lot of med schools have online. Like they have anatomy class, they study anatomy very well. And, a lot of people aren't going to be doing autopsies. It's usually if you go into pathology. But I walked in and there was like, I want to say we had at least, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe I'm like just like thinking about it back then, but maybe at least 20.
That's a lot.
20 to 30 bodies.
Ooh, that's a lot. Yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Maybe I'm being exaggerative, but
even if it was
trying
10.
to count the rows that I remember, and I feel like maybe it was probably just like up to 20 bodies.
That's a shit ton of bodies.
But yeah, it was, and I guess like the anatomy lab itself was very large.
Okay.
And it was just like the smell of like formalin and like all the bodies covered,
which on its own gets people, like makes people pass out and stuff like that. Just the smell, because it's a really strong chemical scent.
And I had to like in my mind, I was like, you better fucking get your shit together right now. Like, this is a medical school interview. And you better not fucking pass out right now. You're so embarrassing. Like, you don't deserve to be here. So hard on myself. And here I am, and they're just like, just start like, yeah, how cool. We have like different bodies and we do the different body parts. And in my mind, I'm just like, don't faint.
Oh my God, were your ears ringing?
Yeah,
already?
yeah,
Oh,
like
man, you were like full on already.
Queasy. I was like, should I sit? Should I ask them to take me out of the room?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to. It was so embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know, the last thing I needed for Xfinity was like that girl. I don't know if she's gonna handle it. But I've always been like that. I've gotten used to it over the years. Obviously, I've seen a lot of blood and I've seen a lot of things. But like before, when I was a pre-med student, I would see blood and I would pass out.
Really?
Till this day, sometimes when I see a lot of blood, I can feel that my body wants to have that reaction, like that natural reaction to shut down. No, that's not. We're not supposed to be saying this. Shut down.
Oh my God.
But I researched it, and I was like, why do people faint? Like, why?
Right.
Like, what is it about seeing blood? And I had researched it because I had never. I've never been a person to be queasy about things.
Yeah.
I can see how that, like, maybe if someone doesn't really like procedures and stuff, and I love procedures and I love these things, but I couldn't freaking handle the blood. Huh. Yeah, so I researched it, and apparently it's like a theory, probably. So it's like a deeper part into our brain that goes back years and years and years of a survival mode. So when you see something that is not supposed to be happening, like blood loss and stuff like that, your brain like shuts down to block that out so that you can survive that. Yeah, very interesting.
That is really interesting. I wouldn't even have thought of that.
I saw cadavers, was like,
survive.
I was like, survive right now, please don't die.
Oh my God. I can only imagine you, like, knowing you and your faces, I could only imagine your face at that moment.
And I'm pretty sure they mentioned it too. I'm pretty sure they mentioned if anyone is like feeling queasy, because I'm sure I'm probably not the only person that has fainted.
100%.
So if anyone is feeling like queasy,
it happened
let
tomorrow.
us know. And I was like,
it happened to Mario, not him like fainting, but he experienced a lot of people fainting even during medical school. It wasn't even in the interview process. It was like as they were like doing whatever it is in the anatomy lab with cadavers, straight up fainting.
Yep.
And we're talking about
people that like go off to be surgeons.
Yeah, exactly. And no, and not even now. We're talking about like semesters in, like more than a year or two in, and fainting. So it's normal. It's nothing. Okay, there goes my phone. Sorry. I have a very needy mom. Anyway, so I like to talk a little bit about the history of what we do, what we talk about, whatever our topic is, because like medicine has actually a lot of history too in it. And it's good to see where it all came from, except a little bit of history of autopsies. So dating back to ancient Egypt. You know me, I love Egypt.
I know you love that Egypt life.
Anyway, as one of the earliest applications of autopsy, they performed embalming to surgeries and autopsies.
I think the embalming process is... Why are we doing that? Why? Like, why do you want to have someone's body on display?
Still doing it, yeah. So autopsies were used by early anatomists to learn about human anatomy and physiology.
Her Cuban accent is coming off. Physiology.
No. Physiology. So, by early anatomists to learn about human anatomy and physiology. Autopsies were also used to investigate causes of death, but like you had said. But this was less common due to religious and legal restrictions back then, Yeah. The first forensic autopsy was performed in 1813 by Dr. Johann Peter Frank. And autopsies have played a role in some of the most important medical advances in history, such as the development of vaccines and treatment for diseases such as cancer and heart disease. Yeah. I mean, it's important. I get it.
It is.
And mostly to teach you guys.
Yeah, we've learned so much from autopsies, and we're super grateful and thankful for even having the opportunity to do that. But even at least in my school. I'm sure other schools do the same, but we have a ceremony for the families of the people that donate their family members' bodies
That's
to
great.
science.
That's great.
We have a Holy Prayer ceremony, and they're allowed to come, and we read out their names and stuff like that, so that we can give them their, like, you know, appreciation and thanks for doing that.
That's great, because bodies are expensive.
Yeah.
Like, really expensive. And that's something that is not talked about a lot.
You know, that's like something, someone that you love, or someone that you have history with, and saying, I'm going to donate your body to science. And
it's a big decision to make. Mostly when you're donating it like that, it's a big decision to make. If not, then all these institutions have to buy these bodies, and they're incredibly expensive. It's a big process. It's a whole other episode on its own, if it could be. But anyway, so go ahead. Developments in pathophysiology.
Okay, so rise of hospital autopsies for scientific inquiry by early 1900s, championed by clinicians like Rudolf Virchow. So when I was reading the show notes, I was like, Virchow. There's a Virchow's triad, which is like 3 things that happen when we're talking about something more serious. But then when I read, I was like, Virchow's cellular, I was like, that sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
And I remembered because I read up on it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's like the guy that like literally first wrote about that things have cells and different tissues and stuff like that. So because of autopsies, this person, Virchow, was able to write down cellular pathology. So cellular down to the nitty gritty, like the individual thing that makes up life, the cell, and basically how it can create like disease and all that stuff.
And we're talking about
the basis of medicine.
Exactly. We're talking about people this was a long time ago. It was in the early 1900s. Yeah. So none of this existed. People back then didn't even feel the need to wash their hands.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal. Autopsies like led the way to something so microscopic and how important it is.
Yeah. And then it like they were able to also write about different diseases and advanced medical knowledge, because then they started doing like autopsies on like systematic autopsies. So different like parts to it.
Right.
So it's a big part of medicine.
Big time.
Yeah, so purpose, which is kind of like what I already kind of explained. It's either for legal purposes, that you want to get an answer on why this person or what the cause of death was, and for criminal like history too. I think the most common example is going to be like a murder case.
Yeah.
And then it's if that ties into the way that like things were explained, so it can give a lot of information for that too. And so it says like basically cause of death, state of the person that was alive. Were they alive? Were they already dead? What kind of changes did the body have versus when someone is alive or dead? Did they drown? Did they not? Did they stop breathing? Was it the lungs? Was it the heart? And also, not only for adults, like they do these type of autopsies for infants as well.
Yeah. And it's all to find the cause of death, and there's a million causes of death. Like it could be pretty much anything. So the body gives a lot of information about how and why the person died. And it could be from the outside all the way to the inside. And that's why autopsies are performed. Types of them. There's forensic, as she has mentioned, as an example for murder. And so if there's a murder, you go to a forensic type of autopsy, and it's a post-mortem examination of the body to determine a cause and manner of death, as well as to gather other evidence that may be relevant to the legal investigation. And then there's clinical. That involves examining a dead body to determine the cause and manner of death, as well as to better understand the disease process that led to death. Clinical autopsies are typically performed by pathologists in a hospital setting.
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, everyone is smart in this world and everyone has their own thing. But when it comes to medicine, in my opinion, I think pathologists are probably the most brilliant.
Yeah.
Because they are literally doctors of pathology. So pathology is disease.
Anything that's wrong.
Which is medicine.
Yep.
Right? When you hear pathologists like talk to you about things, it's like they know like down to the nitty gritty of why things happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just, like, I'm just going to give myself as an example. Oh yeah, sinusitis. You can use amoxicillin for that. You know what I mean? But I'm not there, like, in my brain, I'm not, it's probably this, and then this happens because of this, and then this. And the reason why you have green mucus versus clear mucus right now is because of this process.
Yeah.
Like, it is.
Yeah. It's so detailed.
It's so detailed. Yeah. So then these are the people that usually do autopsies as well.
Incredible. Well, they have to be detailed because then if you're talking about like forensics, for instance, like you have to include all of that in a legal case. Like you have to include, well, the reason why we're saying that it was a murder versus whatever is because all of these things were
And I
there.
feel like they don't get enough credit. Pathologists don't get enough credit because they're not typically they're not with patients.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're usually like in their office, in their lab, like doing type of things like a histological pathology, analyze like biopsies and stuff like that to figure out what certain things are and stuff and things like that. But they don't get nearly enough credit because they do a lot of the fundamental medicine part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then the next one is academic, which is the one that you experienced.
Yes.
There are postmortem examinations performed to advance medical knowledge. They are typically performed by pathologists and medical students in academic settings, such as hospitals and universities. They may be performed to learn more about the natural progression of disease, to investigate the effects of new treatments, or to simply better understand the human body. Academic autopsies are important because they can help to improve the diagnosis and treatment of disease, and they can also lead to new discoveries about the human biology.
Yes.
Yeah, it's incredibly important. Like med schools need it, nursing students need it. Like all these healthcare institutions, all these healthcare professionals, they need to either if it's virtual or it's hands-on.
Yeah. We need to understand some sort of basis in medicine.
Absolutely.
And like you can read, don't get me wrong, and there are, I mean,
Excellent books.
no, I'm
Illustrations.
just technology.
Yeah.
Like technology nowadays can be very real. I mean, look at the AIs and stuff like that. Like I can imagine like the world of medicine right now.
Oh, wow.
And medical education, true, as well.
Stay tuned to Patreon because our October recap is exactly going to include that.
What?
Integration of AI. It already exists in a university for med school, in a med school.
Yeah. I mean, for us, I remember when we were doing histology, like histology is like microscope, like looking at slides. So when I was at FIU, we were still doing histological slides, like prepping the slides, putting them under the microscope and like looking at them.
I did it in FIU too,
Yeah. So then, but when I went to med school, they did not have, they still had them. Like, you could see all the old microscopes that they had.
Yeah.
But our histology was purely online.
Damn, I feel like a dinosaur now.
Yeah. It was
Because I did the slides, like the glass.
I remember like taking a swab of like my inside of the cheek.
That's it, yes.
Doing all those things and like looking at everything.
Yes. And then doing the stains.
Yeah. But like pathologists nowadays, they still do that.
They
That's
still
what
do
we
it.
do. We get a biopsy, we put it in some fluid, like a formalin or something to like preserve it. And then we chop it up, we freeze it. I remember like studying like the whole entire process of how to prep a slide. It's like you freeze it and then you steam it, and it's a lot. And then they go on, the pathologist will look at it under it. But like now, like the microscope, like you had to turn and the light and this and that. Now it's like,
and the
I'm sure
zooming.
it's like advanced so much. So they probably see it on a computer.
Oh my God, that's so true. That was one of the most annoying things, going to a freaking, and then having to adjust it. And then it's like, and it would never really be.
And I was just like, I remember just being like,
Exactly. And then you had to do that while you were in the middle of a test sometimes. Yeah. Like that's how they would test you.
God, I
remember
forgot about that,
that you had to go around with your little paper to each
and
different,
look at it.
and then like adjust and then look, and you're like, I can't even freaking see. Yeah. So how does the process go for autopsies?
So from what I remember, I'm going to tie it into my experience with an autopsy.
Please do.
So I remember when I was a medical student, we basically had like volunteering for autopsies. And it was very nice because not every pathologist is willing to take in a medical student while they're doing these autopsies.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So I was able to sign up and I was able to snag a spot for an autopsy. And so I show up in this hospital and they take me to like the morgue. And I'm like, this is like already creepy. And when I think it was like, oh, it's the Northeast, like everything there is already old. So everything is already creepy and dungeony.
It feels like haunted already.
It feels like haunted already, exactly.
Yeah.
So I finally get there and I'm just alone waiting for the pathologist. And I like can see the body and I'm like, it's probably the one I'm doing an autopsy on. And I'm just like, still waiting. And he finally shows up, and this guy is like, oh, you think a pathologist that does this all the time is more like very serious and, you know, very meticulous and like all these things. Nah, girl. This guy was like, oh, sorry for being late. And he's like taking off his like jacket and just like swings it. And I'm like, oh, there's probably like some sort of fluid on that. And then he was like, all right, that's it. He's like, are you ready? And then he's like, what are you wearing? He's like, this is a splash zone. And I was like, what? I was like, splash zone? I was like, what do you mean? What's splashing on? I was like all nervous. Oh my God. And then he's like, he like throws like this suit thing on me. And then he was like, he like looked at my shoes and he's, I don't know about your shoes. And then like saying like, if it splashes, I'm not responsible.
What shoes were you wearing?
I usually would go always dressed professionally. So I was probably wearing like some closed-toe flats or something like that. But I was like freaking out. I'm like, is it gonna get on my face? Do I need to wear
a shield?
My face? No, he made me wear goggles.
Oh my God. These were pre-COVID days too.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. I mean, still, like, we're clean and it's not he's there like chopping up, you know?
But he made it sound like it, you know?
He was just like... And then, so he did start, so the process is, you know, you look like kind of up and down, you just examine things. And then I remember he taught me it's like from clavicle to clavicle, but there's different ways to do an autopsy.
Right.
But basically the external examination, so they usually do photographs, they examine, they note that if there's like any external things, anything on the clothes.
Anything particular.
Yeah, exactly. Mine was not like this. I think this is like maybe for like more criminal things.
Right.
Or criminal cases because my body was already naked.
Okay. So they probably already went through that.
I think so. Yeah. Then any evidence that's collected of the body externally kind of goes through its own testing. And then they do UV lights sometimes to find any external evidence, like anything else that might light up that they didn't catch before or is not like visible without that.
To the naked eye, yeah.
Exactly. And then external samples are taken, such as like hair, things from under the nails. If they have like anything in their mouth, they might do it too. They check everything. They check genitals, like all the cavities.
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
So the body is then removed from the bag. It's completely undressed. So that's like where I kind of like came into my autopsy. And then external wounds are examined. The body is like cleaned. They had already cleaned the body like, when I was there. I guess he has like a team that like already does this. So like when the pathologist gets there, it's like getting down to the nitty gritty.
Exactly. It's probably the autopsy tech or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And now, you know, it's, you know, because I'm reading it's like general description of the body. So I'm sure that some people like record their findings.
Right.
You know, this guy did not. He ended up telling me he's there like already like doing the autopsy and he's like, so what do you do for fun? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And I'm like,
sure.
I was like, I used to dance. And then he was like, oh, what kind of dance? And I'm like, oh, you know, like classical, like ballet, jazz, tap, what every little girl does when she's like little. And he was like, oh, I ballroom dance.
What?
Yeah. And then he's
this
like,
has a vibe.
No, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I have practice after this. And he starts like telling me on how he takes like his propranolol to kind of calm his nerves because he has some anxiety of performing.
This guy's such a vibe. I love it.
While he's like doing this like autopsy. And I'm like, and I'm over here and I'm like, when is the splashing happening? That's all I can think about in this whole entire conversation. I'm like, shut up and tell me when to brace myself. Anyways, okay, so the internal examination. So a plastic or rubber brick is put in the back of their head and kind of almost like back, like where their upper thoracics are, just because you want to kind of like prop the body like up a little bit so you can get like a good
exposure of the
torso. Yeah, they put it under the shoulders, which makes the body easier to incise and provides more exposure to the torso. So it's either a Y-shaped, which is the one that he did. So basically clavicle, under the clavicles, and then just right down the middle. And then sometimes they just have just a middle part, like they don't open the sides. But this, the one that
it all depends on like the
I
need.
think so. It's all a style. It's like every surgeon has its style. I guess every pathologist has its style.
Okay.
His own style. He or she. So the good thing is that obviously when you're doing an autopsy, it's not like active circulation. So it's not like they're going to be like bleeding excessively. But once we got like into, under the muscles and stuff, things were very splashy.
Oh boy.
It was just, you could just hear like liquid. Like,
Yeah.
It was just
a little bit of splashing.
like, I don't even know that noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, bleeding from the cuts are minimal because gravity like pulls the blood down, and that's definitely something that I saw. Like, I remember seeing like a ton of blood, like just like pulling down into the cavities and stuff. And then shears are used to open the cavity, which cuts through the ribs. I specifically remember this. I would remember
to be a fly on that wall to see you use.
So he actually did not use the shears. He actually cracked the ribs on his own.
Holy shite.
Like he was like he like cracked the ribs, and then he went with the shears because he said that it was easier to cut through like already broken. Yeah, it was.
How strong was this man?
I mean, it's like pretty, it's like pretty pressure. Yeah. But if you like angle down like the right ankle and you put some pressure, you'll crack a rib. Because they have the curvature, so there's going to be a point where it cracks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shears are used to open the cavity, which cuts through the ribs and then removes the sternum. So that's exactly what he did. So the heart and lungs can be seen. Mm-hmm. And then internal organs are removed depending on the case. If removed, they're examined, weighed, tissue, fluid samples, all of that is taken. Yeah. In this, the guy is, okay, so he knows that I'm a student. So he's, okay, well, here you see like the lungs and the heart. And like he was like trying to show me, what it was, like the thyroid gland and all that stuff.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But it was crazy because I'm used to cadavers, right? And when it's sort of like an embalming process. Mm-hmm. So when you have cadavers, like everything is hard because it's preserved.
It's already been,
It's already been through like a process where basically like freezes everything where it last was, right? When you look at when you cut the heart, it retains shape, Oh, wow. That's actually perfect. So basically, yeah. So you have like this was literally like this. Or where is this? It's like this. Literally.
For those of you that are only listening on audio, she's putting it in her chest.
Yeah,
and I got like this golden vase that's literally an anatomically correct heart.
Yeah. Actually pretty legit. But yeah, like the right side of the heart is like facing like this way. So anyways, okay. So but when he took out the lung, that's where the splash zone started happening.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh boy.
When I tell you that he just like flung the lung like to his little like tray.
Flung.
Yeah.
So like he yeeted it out.
Yeah. So he like cut it.
I love that word.
I swear it looked like a knife, like a fish knife. He literally just filleted it. Yep.
Filleted the lung.
Yeah, like filleted it. And then like literally like imagine like a sandbag or something.
Yeah.
Just plopped it
yeah.
onto his little like metal tray, and he was like filleting it and like looking at it, and it was just like fucking like fluid everywhere.
Oh God.
And I'm over here and I'm like trying not to get smashed. Trying to be professional as possible. And while he's telling me on me like how uncomfortable his new dance shoes were.
Oh my God, I love this guy. I love that guy.
So he's like, oh yeah, and then he's switching back and forth in these conversations. And I got these shoes.
I wonder how many bodies deep is he?
Yeah.
Plenty. Yeah.
And he was like, and he's like, okay, well, this is this and this is that, and you could see the middle bronchus there and the lower bronchus and all these things, and I'm just like, I'm like hyper focused on not getting splashed. Okay. And so that's the lung. And then he does the same thing. He like flops out like the other lung. And then he's like, here, you want to feel it? And then didn't even give me a choice. And then I was like, I was going to be like, well, yeah, I could see what you're doing there. But no. He like flung it at me.
Yeah, he's like, no, please.
I was covered.
Touch it.
No, he was like, and I was like, because it was so slippery that I was like, it was like, and filleted that it was like, I couldn't control the movement. It was like slipping out of my hands. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. And then, the lungs, you could hear the crackling, like, because of the air in the lungs. So I was trying to, like, manhandle the lung because it was slipping out of my hands. And I could just feel the little air sacs in there.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, so I had a lot of emotions.
A lot was going on,
A lot was going on. I was trying to pay attention to his freaking ballroom shoes. Then I was trying not to get splashed. I was trying not to drop the lung. It's like when a baby is born, that they're slippery, and you don't want to drop the baby. I didn't want to drop the fucking lung. Okay? Because I was like, I don't know if he needs this.
Right. Probably does, yeah.
Okay, so I'm like there, like literally struggling to not look like a doofus. Okay? It was, okay, so then the heart, right? So the heart, this is, when everyone is doing an autopsy, the heart is like, like the
big deal.
See. I could not tell the anatomy of that heart. That heart was so fresh, and he filleted it so much, and you see the ventricles? You see the ventricles? And I'm like, no, I don't fucking see it.
No, it looks like a churrasco to me. I don't know.
Yes, I was like, this is butchered. It's completely butchered, and then he, like, tossed the heart at me, which is smaller than the lungs. So think of a small baseball, okay? And I'm like, because we have the body. Yeah, because we have the body, like, I'm on one side, he's on the other.
Yeah.
So it's not like, he
not gently.
He wasn't like, like, flinging at me, but he was kind of just like, he was like, oh, yeah, okay, all right, well, here. And I was
like, sir.
my thing, like, ended up, like, maybe, like, here, so, like, my neck was exposed, so literally.
Those of you that are not watching, she's just, like, exposing her neck. Stay above water.
So, yeah, stay above the splash zone. Oh, God. And that, it was just, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot happening. And then we got down to the intestines, and the intestines were just wet. Thank God he did not. I told him, I was like, no, I don't need to see the intestines. And it was literally just
Did they have
like,
poop? Did they have poop?
Yeah.
Oh.
And our cadavers had poop too.
I can't with the smell.
Yeah. Imagine formaldehyde poop.
Fuck no.
Yeah, our cadavers definitely had poop.
Oh my God, no.
It was disgusting.
No, I'd be like, I'm out.
It was really disgusting.
Good luck with your dancing shoes. I'm out.
So
Done. No poop here.
Just everything, the liver, just all
Fine, I'm
things.
fine with all of that. Just don't give me the shit.
Okay, so
God, no.
basically all the internal organs are removed.
Yeah.
Right? So then after, like...
Wait. What happened with the small intestines, though? Like, did he just start pulling them out and handing them to you?
No, he put it on straight.
Thank God.
No,
oh my God.
No,
because he's just flinging the heart at you.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
the only thing, he would have thrown it on me, he would have, like, wrapped around me like a little scarf. I was traumatized.
Oh my God.
I was traumatized. Okay. So back to our bullet points, and then I'll, like, kind of tag in on the story. So then, okay, so this next part, they do like autopsies of the brain. This person did not need that. Okay. Or at least he did not do it with me.
Right.
But yes, they do, like, cut, like, they make like they drill.
Oh, yeah.
They drill because it's bone, and then they, like, flap out the scalp. It's fucking nuts. Okay. Like, it looks crazy. Okay. It looks crazy. All right. Thank God he did not have that with me. Thank God. Because if he would have thrown the brain at me with his scalp, the guy's hair. I think I would have fainted. I almost fainted in the cadaver lab. I don't know how I didn't faint with
I
the
just had this image of this hair flying to you.
for me. 100%. You know, he might have done it. Maybe I blacked out at that point. But I don't remember that because I feel like I would have been very, very traumatized by that.
You just would have frozen. Like,
No,
you
I
were
would have
just,
frozen.
I'm done.
For sure.
I'm just going to stay here.
And I
I'll
remember,
hold this last organ and that's it.
you know, when you, like, remove the organs, you have the cavity.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, like,
Empty, yeah.
all the blood pools there.
Oh, shite.
So I literally remember him, like, like just like searching for
Going
things,
through
like,
it.
through the fluid, and then I was just like, I was like, do you have to be so aggressive? All while he's talking to me about his dance moves and his practice
I love this guy so much.
and how he picked up this hobby
Oh my God, I love this
after
person.
med school.
I want to meet him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Very nice person. But so after all of that, I am happy to report I did not get splashed. Maybe I got some droplets because, you know, like juggling the lung and the heart and
Exactly. That'll
and
do it.
everything, you know, but it was, well, just to end and wrap up that story, I was signed up for another autopsy and I canceled it. I was like, I cannot go through that again.
Oh my God,
cannot.
you bet.
I cannot go through that again. And I literally, my class had a little Facebook like page.
Yeah.
So I commented on the Facebook page and I'm like, hey guys, can't make it to my let's see if anyone wants it. Except for grabs. I couldn't. Oh, and then after me being, you know, like careful not to drop the lung, because I'm like, no, he probably needs this and everything. He literally stuck everything into one of those biological bags and tossed it in the trash.
Oh, in the trash?
Yeah.
I thought it was into the body, like back into the body or something.
No, I'm pretty sure he tossed it into the trash.
Oh my God.
Or maybe I'm remembering that, but he definitely tossed it into a bag and like tied a knot like that. No one was gonna touch that anymore. There was
It was done. It was done. Those organs were done with. Yeah. Maybe that's why he was just flinging it to you. He's like, oh, who gives a shit?
Probably.
You're there. Like,
Maybe
oh my God.
maybe he was like, you know, trolling me. Maybe he was like, let me just into all these things and see how she reacts.
Oh my God.
It was terrible.
At least you didn't throw up.
I don't know how I did it. I think I was so hyper focused on not getting fluid on me that it didn't give me a chance
To create your own
to
theory.
create my thing. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so reconstitution of the body. The organs have been removed, and now the empty cavity is typically lined with cotton wool. He didn't do this with me, but the organs are
probably
put
like-
into a plastic bag.
Yeah.
Okay, in order to prevent leakage. Okay, the chest flaps are then sewn back together, as well as the skull cap, and then the body is then, you know, released to
Family
relatives
members,
or you know,
where it goes.
cremation.
Yeah, exactly. Wherever it's gonna go next to be observed, or not. I don't know, depending on the family wishes or whatnot.
It was awful.
Oh,
It was
boy.
very. I'll never look at an autopsy. Like, I'll never think about an autopsy the same way.
Yeah.
No.
Oh boy. Okay, so modern medical uses of autopsy, obviously they're like very, very general, and there's a lot of uses for it. But, you know, to obviously diagnose death, like how did the death happen in accidents, crimes, outbreaks, like it happened big time in COVID, unfortunately. Research on tumors, pathogens, genetic disorders, like just to learn more, really. And then also quality control on clinical diagnosis and education for medical students, as Evie just
Very educational.
explained. So then there's been a lot of famous autopsies out there, a lot of them with conspiracies and what have yous. One of them was Marilyn Monroe.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she was so famous that unfortunately this happened to her. So in 1962, Marilyn Monroe's autopsy, it faced allegations that it was a botched procedure and that there was actual organ theft. What sick MFer is so obsessed with someone that you have to steal their fucking organ? Who does that? And why? What does that matter? Like, how does that mean anything?
People do some weird shit.
There's some weird people out there, man. So Dr. Thomas Noguchi, the chief medical examiner in Los Angeles at the time in 1962, explained that samples were allegedly brought to the morgue's chief toxologist, which at the time was Raymond J. Abernathy. However, Noguchi was shocked to learn that Monroe's body parts had been disposed of, and they put it very clear, like in quotations, that these organs had been disposed of in quotations, because Abernathy felt that no other tests were needed. So biographer Danforth Prince said, according to his report on that, which is like, anyway. Investigator Becky Altringer said that the missing lab reports could indicate at a cover-up. The pathologist reports that was at the lab work indicated that her stomach contents, everything that had to do with Marilyn Monroe's autopsy had completely just disappeared. So that's one of those big, newsworthy autopsies that did happen. The other one is JFK's, which oddly enough, they were intertwined back then. So JFK's in 1963 autopsy was shrouded in secrecy and errors, fueling conspiracy theories, which JFK's assassination is just
a whole entire thing.
A whole entire thing of its own, and it's fueled and filled with conspiracy theories still to this day. So apparently what happened was that the night after the assassination, the Navy pathologist who oversaw President Kennedy's autopsy took the original autopsy report and all of his notes from the autopsy room and pushed them into his fireplace in his home in Bethesda, Maryland. He did this, he claimed, because they were stained with the president's blood and he didn't want them ever to be seen. The autopsy, in many ways, was rushed. We're still dealing with the aftermath of this. And because of so many mistakes made in the autopsy room that night, they have led to many, many more conspiracies, and it's still happening as to what actually did happen to the president's body. The two pathologists from the Navy who were assigned to oversee the autopsy had no real experience. They weren't forensic pathologists, and they had no experience with medical legal autopsies to which the level of this crime was involved.
JFK.
For the president of the United States.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's
And then the last one that was very newsworthy was Elvis's in 1977. The autopsy revealed that he actually had a severe heart disease, and the impact of prescription drug use contributed to his actual death. There was a heart enlargement, and he had arteriosclerosis, clogging. He had a high blood pressure. Wasn't treated for it, led to all these complications with his cardiac health, and ultimately led to his death, So autopsies just show a lot more than leads to, to the plain eye. That was autopsies for you all.
I hope everyone enjoyed my little first year med student.
That was awesome. I love that guy. I love that guy.
I don't remember his name. Not that I would say his name. But
yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Amazing. But yeah. Thank you for listening.
Shout out to him for even letting me participate. And for by no means, I don't want people to think that he was disrespecting the body. It's just when you do this so often, all the time, he's probably go. I gotta go to my ballroom classes.
Yeah. This is just paperwork for him.
Exactly.
And then
he, when you have a medical student, it's kind of different. You're teaching and all these things, and he's still trying to make conversation.
He's probably trying to keep it lighthearted too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not so,
But I was very thankful for it. But it solidified that I didn't want to be a pathologist. Not that I was planning to be a pathologist, but that was oh no, that's definitely a no for me.
You're definitely attach that out of the list. Of course.
Oh, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you so much. Subscribe, comment, like us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really, really helps us out with the algorithm and all that stuff. And if you're not a patron yet, please become one. Yeah. And watch our episode. Like I said, the out-of-body experience that you will see on Patreon from Yvette. Her actual soul left on camera.
I don't want to talk about it, too. I don't want to talk about it.
You did bring up the Ouija board, okay?
I did.
So there's that. Patreon.com/Funny Medicine Podcast. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Like, comment, review us on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, etc.
Check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Funny Medicine Podcast. Our Gmail is funnymedicine305@gmail.com. And remember, we are not diagnosing you.
Definitely not. Just funny stuff.
See you later, guys.